Hi, my name is Richard Gutjahr, and many of you know me as a terrorist, a mass murderer, somebody who is the mastermind behind many terror attacks worldwide. It all started in Nice, France, where I happened to be on vacation with my family, and maybe some of you are familiar with this video clip. This was taken by me on the balcony at the wonderful promenade of Nice, France, when all of a sudden a truck started to plow its way through the crowds, killed 86 people that night. Ever since that incident, I reported, of course, I'm a reporter, I'm a journalist, so that is what I do for a living. Ever since I reported for public German television from Nice, France, I got weird emails and Twitter messages and stuff like that. In the beginning, I thought this would just be like some of the usual trolls, the usual shitstorms that you receive once you're a public figure. But this time, the story went different. And it went online, it went on YouTube, and it went viral. Let's have a look.
Richard Gutjahr is a fan. Richard Gutjahr is a fan. Richard Gutjahr is a fan.
Richard Gutjahr, one of the most talked about names in the last few weeks on social media.
He is actually a German journalist, CNN trained in Washington.
Ist verheiratet mit einer gewissen Dr. Einert Wilf. In dem Artikel habe ich sie genannt, den Engel mit den Eisaugen.
You must be wondering who this pretty looking young woman is. You cannot make this shit up. The daughter of Richard Gutjahr.
Let me tell you something, little girl. You're a bitch. And your father does not love you. And we were talking about the fake Munich attack, the fake Nice attack, among so many fake attacks. Richard Gutjahr is a traitor to humanity. Expose him for being the liar and the treasonous bastard that he is.
Richard Gutjahr, you are done. Watching you go down will be fun. Richard Gutjahr.
Just a quick message for our boy, Richie. Richie. Because I know you're watching this, Rich. And just so you understand, if you're going to proceed with your actions, you do know the repercussions, don't you?
Richard Gutjahr lügt, seine Tochter Tamina Stoll lügt. Teilt das Video, macht es öffentlich und unterstützt meine Arbeit.
This is a war. If you're listening to this, Richard Gutjahr, welcome to your hell.
This family has no shame, people. This is a traitorous criminal family.
This is going to follow them around for the rest of their stupid lives.
Now at the peak of that 3-year ongoing nightmare, I faced over 1,000 videos only on YouTube. And the conspiracy theorists that were doing its work have a playbook that they use every time when something extraordinary happens, like the Parkland shooting in Florida last year, or the Sandy Hook massacre, where 21 elementary school children died. Now what they do is they are aiming at the victims, not the perpetrators, claiming that the victims are actually behind all of this, that they are actually just actors in a false flag attack in order to manipulate you and the common news. So basically what they do, they aim at the weakest of the weakest at the moment when they lose their children, when they lose their siblings or their school friends, and they target the victims, not the perpetrators. And they gain quite a lot of money by Google and Facebook and by YouTube due to the clicks that they generate. Now, over the time, after a couple of months, I became like the monster who was all of a sudden responsible for all the terror attacks ever happened on this planet. Maybe it was me who faked the moon landing in the 60s. The problem is, I would like, as much as I would like to laugh about this, it gets worse. And only a couple of weeks ago, we were all facing like a live massacre broadcasted live on Facebook with hundreds of people watching, millions of them copying the horrible video and spread it all over the internet, especially on YouTube. Now, I speak constantly with Facebook and with YouTube, like ever since my family got attacked, where I'm in a constant exchange, and I ask them, why? Why, for Christ's sake, don't you do anything against it? This cannot be something that was on your mind when you created your beautiful platforms. As we learn year after year, there is no real priority for those companies to actually change that, because as we learned by Bloomberg in a fantastic article, I dare you look for that article. It's really mind-blowing, whereas YouTube staff members explain that they actually like that engagement of conspiracy theorists. They are the most valued customers in order to drive even more clicks. So that is the reason why they do not have a real intention to change that, because engagement equals money. After a year of hiding, I decided to go out, to have a coming out, to step on the stage. I did that on a TEDx talk in Marrakesh in Morocco. And I tried to explain not just the audience there, but worldwide, that this is actually no joke, that this is a weapon, and it is actually a weapon of mass destruction just by liking or sharing fake news. And my intention was, once I declare myself and explain what this is doing to us as a family and as a society, I thought about, maybe you should not only talk to the people like you here in Berlin who are open-minded and who are reasonable to talk to, but why don't I take this talk and spread it exactly there where my family and I are being hunted down. So I took some money, paid it to Facebook, and promoted that very talk on Facebook, especially amongst people who are amongst those conspiracy idiots. Because I thought maybe I can reach them, maybe they understand what they're actually doing to us. Only 2 hours after I placed my promotional TED Talk to Facebook, I got a note which claimed that Facebook is unable to promote my TED Talk for it is containing hate speech. The problem that we're facing right now as a society is that many media outlets, but also politicians here in Berlin, still think that, from the good old world where somebody was talking up in front, up on top, that has changed and that the people are now talking back. But that is not the reality. That is the mistake everyone is making. Because the reality today looks much more like this, and this, and this. In fact, the way we communicate online looks like this. And ever since that new sort of communication, chaos, so to speak, has raised, so did the media. And as you can see by the voters for Hillary and the red voters for Trump, we are facing a confrontation between two hardcore it's like a train, two trains that are running against each other and collide in the middle. And if there's one thing that I would agree with one of the biggest hate speech preachers in the world, like Alex Jones, It is the title of his channel, InfoWars. We are actually facing a war right now. It's not a war of rockets and of nuclear bombs and stuff like that. It's a war on words. And who gets to decide what is true and what's not? I think it's no coincidence that we are facing an outrage these days, no matter where you're looking at. Whether it's Germany or France or in the United States. My daughter studies in the US in North Carolina. And she reported to me one day, "Daddy, there's a Ku Klux Klan marching on our streets." The Ku Klux Klan in the year 2000, back then 18, in the middle of the day. How about that? And I think if we don't pay attention, it will get worse. As we're speaking, today and in the following days, there's this auction going on for the next standard of mobile networks, the 5G network. Do you have any idea what this will do to our communication in the future? Do you have any idea what this kind of a boost of speed will actually mean for people who have not our best on their minds, who will try to create outrage, who will try to divide us, who will try to, use the platforms and aiming them at us? Now, what are we about to do about that? I can give you like a 10-point plan on what to do and what not to do. It's a matter of fact, I learned a lot throughout the last 3 years, but that would not fit like within my time frame that I'm allowed to speak here. So I decided just to come up with one word that each and every one of you can take with you at home and maybe help me to spread it. Because I think that is the antidote. I think that is really the one and most important thing that we must learn or learn again. And that word, it's a little old-fashioned, sorry about that, is empathy. Now empathy, there's always that misconception that empathy is that I'm always must put myself in the shoes of somebody else and have to agree their point of view. That is not empathy. Empathy is just to be able to to leave my own standpoint and put myself into somebody else's arguments. I must not agree. That would be compassion or, but empathy, just to be able to think outside my own inner bubble. That is empathy. But the more I thought and learned about what's been happening to my family and me was that actually, it doesn't stop there. Because empathy is always between men, between persons. What we had to face these days is something that is more than just people. It is empathy for machines, for algorithms. Because when I confronted some of my perpetrators, I had to learn that they too had a daughter. They too are nice people. They're not that monsters that you think they are. They're ordinary people, people like you and you and you and you and me. So what actually makes them turning into monsters? And here comes the algorithm. The algorithm who always rewards the loudest, the noisiest, the cruelest, that gets rewarded. The people get attention that they are really seeking to gain. So empathy in its own is not good enough. What we need to learn is digital empathy, meaning that we not only have to learn what might the other person think, but also what is the algorithm adding to that. What is the machine, the search engine, adding to the results that we see? What is why are the videos shown on the right side of YouTube are driving me into like climate change hoaxes and conspiracy theory channels. Only if we understand not only the other person, but also the computers and the networks and how they operate, I think we can make a safe and a valid judgment. Now I know what you think, and you're right. Policies, laws, but also self-regulation, and big bodies, big companies, big structures. I mean, Google is huge by now. It's not that startup that they want us to believe they are. They're huge. Same is true for Facebook. So here's one thing that I want you to think about. Don't wait for the teachers at school to change something and to teach your kids. Don't wait for Mr. Altmaier or whoever speaks here about responsibility and about digital agendas. Don't wait for a company like Google and Facebook to change their priorities. Just do it on your own. Take responsibility like in your area. Each and every one of us in Germany has approximately 140, 50 followers on Facebook and friends. You're responsible for these people. You are, as we use the term from football, we have 80 million team coaches for the German national team. We also have 80 million editors-in-chief for your readers, your followers, your folks that are getting their news from the way that you like and share things. Be aware of that. Start with yourself. And when you see that somebody's getting harassed online, then help him or her. Don't wait. Don't look the other direction, just like Google and Facebook and many others did. Help these people. It is necessary. It's about time. Because when you ask me what was the hardest over the past 3 years for my family and for myself, facing all this hate flooding all over the internet against us, it was not the conspiracy theorists. It was not Facebook or Google. Actually, it was the society, the people, the friends, relatives who just didn't dare to speak up, who didn't fight this, who were just hiding and telling me like behind closed doors, Richard, this is really awful what's happening to you, but I don't want to get involved, Get involved, do something, and start with yourself. That's the way how you fight trolls and online conspiracies, online and offline. Thank you.